The schools in the Dominican Republic that our kids go to are better than the schools in the United States. Today's video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why that is true, and I'm going to prove it to you because I know a lot of people fear education in the Dominican Republic. And I got to give you a trigger warning here. Number 5, it's going to set some people off. Yeah, pretty much guaranteed. Let's dive in. What's up, everybody? My name's Jamie Gruber. I quit my $400,000 a year executive job in the United States and moved to the Dominican Republic in 2022. And on this channel, I share my journey in hopes that it helps you. And today we're talking about education. So I moved down here with 2 sons. They are 8 and 5 as we record this. And so we had to enroll them in school once we got down to the Dominican Republic. Now, a couple of qualifiers here. 1, the part of the Dominican Republic we're in is Punta Cana. And 2, I'm talking about private schools, not public. So a disclaimer for all of you who need to make sure I know. The public school system here needs a lot of work, no doubt about it. But keep in mind, those that watch me are mostly people living in the United States, Canada, Europe, usually with a Dominican background of some sort, and they're interested in either moving here full-time or moving here for a period of time to realign with where their family comes from. That's why we're here. My wife originally is from the Dominican. My kids are half Dominican. We wanted them to get experience in that part of their culture. So all of you like,
oh, you're in the bubble in Punta Cana, and yeah, you can spend money on private school.
So can most people watching this video. I don't need to know about poverty in the Dominican Republic. I know there's poverty in the Dominican Republic. Let's just put that down, please. You have to make the comment. If it's just like simmering in you, put it in the comments below and then skedaddle. All right, back on point. Here's the first reason I say schools here are better than the US. 1, it's open air. Now, I know in Florida, some schools have an outdoor component to them, but schools here, many of them are very much outdoor, or you spend a lot of time outdoors. Our kids go to the beach once a week with school. And when you go by most schools, kids have to move between buildings outside in order to get to their next class, or classes taught outside often. Our kids have been in 2 different schools since we've lived here. And in both of them, they get ample time in the sun, outdoors, fresh air, which absent Florida or other parts that get warmer in the spring or fall, many schools don't have that luxury. You're in New York or Michigan or Boston, you know, there might be a day or 2 here and there. But year-round, outdoor, I love that our kids get fresh air. The second thing that I believe makes it better here than there is that schools are truly multilingual and multinational. Our kids' school has 35 different nationalities represented in the student body. International Day, oh my God, the food from all these different countries, mwah. But more than that, most schools here are taught in English, the private schools in Punta Cana, and I'll cover which schools those are in a little bit. That's actually a frustration for me because we want our kids to be immersed in Spanish, and they've picked it up, but boy, it would have been much faster if they were all in Spanish versus in English and Spanish. But either way, our kids have picked up a second language thanks to being in school. They and everyone, all of their friends speak 2 languages, Spanish and English. Now they're learning French. Again, I know there's places and pockets in the United States where some of that may be true, but intentionally making sure that every kid in the school is bilingual, I don't know about that one. The third one, it's safety. I always get pushback on safety in the Dominican Republic.
Well, let me take you to my neighborhood. You'll see what unsafe looks like.
Yeah, I know there's bad neighborhoods. I don't need to be taken there to see it. But again, those watching this are going to put their kids in a private school, international school, a bilingual school. We feel much safer with our kids in school here versus there. The big reason is we just don't know when or where. I wish it were if another school shooting is going to take place. That doesn't exist here. In fact, active shooter drills largely don't happen here. I've heard of a story or 2 of maybe like something similar to an active shooter drill happening in maybe a school, but it's not a given, a certainty. Every kid is going to go through the trauma of an active shooter drill. I can't imagine that.
Hey kids, it's time to play like somebody's going to come in and kill everybody.
Help me!
What do you do? Whew. Fire drills are hard enough. I love that our kids don't have that experience here. And the reason they don't is it's just, I mean, it's like you're from Mars. If you think about going into a school to shoot up a bunch of innocent kids, craziness. So safety for us, we feel way better here than we do, unfortunately, back in my home country of the United States. The fourth one is the teachers. I love that our kids have a relationship with their teachers where they can hug them before or after class, where we see them walking around the neighborhood and there's a friendship between us and the teacher. It's not this combative thing, like you sit on that side of the board and I sit on this side of the board. And I know that's not everywhere in the United States, but it's in enough places in the United States that I really like the fact that the teacher-student-parent dynamic is more a team and more relational. We all want what's best for the kid, and we're all on the same page in developing that. It's just a slight difference from what I experienced in the U.S. And the fifth one, I said this one might trigger some people, which it will, but for our family values, for what we value, This is important for us. In the Dominican Republic, schools are not politicized. More specifically, the LGBTQ agenda, the types of books you hear about being placed in libraries and schools, that doesn't exist here. If somebody is transgender and is an adult, God be with you. I have no opinion on how somebody wants to live their life. But when that agenda is being forced taught to kids without my consent, that bothers me. I remember having somebody reach out to me when I made this point once before saying,
Important thing here is kids may not feel comfortable telling their parents about this, the way that they feel.
but we're living in a double exception. One, the amount of transgender people compared to total society is very small. And then within that community, the amount of kids that wouldn't be able to tell their parents for fear of physical or other harm is also small. Not saying it doesn't exist, but it doesn't mean that this segment of a segment is a reason for a teacher or an administrator to circumvent my values by bringing something that I don't want my kids exposed to right now into school and normalizing it. I have further thoughts on that, but we'll leave it there for right now. This, again, sensitive topic, I get it. I'm open to civil debate down in the comments. Drop your thoughts without getting name-calling. I don't want anybody calling names to the other one or whatever, but I don't want that agenda placed on my kids. And if we found that it was starting to happen here, we'd move schools or we'd figure out a way to homeschool at that point. But in the United States, even in the most conservative districts, what I hear happening in schools, it's not even about specifically trans rights per se. It's that and the fact that teachers and administrators and the education system feels as though they may have more rights with our kids than we do. Don't tell a parent that a kid confided in me that they think they're a boy or a girl when their gender is the opposite, and let them be identified by a different name and all of that behind the parent's back. But let's all agree, these kids have the ability and the reasoning and logic at this age to make that decision and be sure about it. But we all also agree they can't have an alcoholic drink till 21, or that they shouldn't go to war until 18. Or if they have to go on a field trip, they need your permission for that. So for liability permission to change your gender, keep it with the teacher. Blows my mind. Anyway, off that soapbox. I know the political, like, oh my God, you said this. Maybe it's my cancel moment, but whatever. I gotta be me. All right, so where do you take your kids to school if you're considering the Dominican Republic, specifically Punta Cana? There are 6 schools that I will tell you that I've researched and know something about from a standpoint of where they are, what they cost, and I'll list them out for you right now. Let's throw it up on screen here. First is Bávaro Bilingual. This is north of downtown, going toward the Hard Rock Punta Cana. I've been told it's maybe a bit more Spanish than the other schools, but still English focused. And from what I can see, the price per kid is around $4,000 to $5,000 per year. But we have friends that go there. They love the school. They speak well of it. It's an option. The next school is Villa Montessori. This school sits right on Turístico del Este, across from Bávaro Adventure Park, up on a hill. It's hard to even see. You have to look for it. And our kids went there for the first year that they were here. The price tag was, I believe, between $5,000 and $6,000 a kid, although it might be a little bit lower than that. And I believe it goes through about the normal grade 8. Montessori doesn't have grades, it's rooms, but still. For us, we moved from that school for a couple of reasons. The biggest one being the administrator or the headmaster at that school brings in maybe a Seventh-day Adventist religious belief to the way she operates the Montessori. Specifically, kids get in trouble if they make noise. They have to put their hands behind the back when they're standing in line. And I've even heard that bathroom breaks are you line up, quiet, hands behind your back, everybody goes at the same time. A little over the top for our liking, but our kids did really pick up Spanish there, and the teachers there do a great job of working with the kids. Again, teachers in any school, any of the ones I'm mentioning, are excellent. I just didn't love the way it was run, so we moved on from it. All right, 3, 4, and 5. All right, the next 3 schools from a cost standpoint, because I'm going in that order, all are around $75,000 to $8,000 per kid per year. Maybe a touch higher, but in that range. And all 3 of them currently are in Punta Cana Village. The first one is PCIS, Punta Cana International School. It is US accredited. It's right inside of Punta Cana Village. It's a K through 12 school with sports, music, everything that you can think of. And it's owned by Grupo Punta Cana, who, if you've heard me talk before, I'm a big fan of theirs. No, I don't get paid by them. I always get these messages. Are they paying you? No. But if they're willing to, let me know. I'll take money. I'm not going to apologize for it. But the point is, that is their school. The next school is Máximo Potencial. This is a fully American accredited school as well. And there are a split campus for younger and older kids. And the older kids, I think there's only like 3 or 4 or 5 per classroom. I've been told Máximo Potencial is a really good homeschool alternative. Very intimate. There are teachers. And I'm also told that it will be moving to City Place, more specifically the Beach Project in Punta Cana, which is right behind downtown Punta Cana, right behind Cocobongo. I think that move is in the next 2 to 3 years. And the third school is Ikigai. Ikigai is an alternative school concept starting with the 2024-2025 school year. They will be only up to 4th grade, and every year they age up. When 2025-26, they'll have a 5th grade, so on and so forth. This is a Finnish-American school concept focused on practical learning. Kids learn more with their hands than they do from the book. Now, the last school is the most expensive. It also is U.S. accredited, and it sits just outside the walls of Cap Cana, and it's called the Heritage School. Now, I've heard a range of pricing here. Here's what I could tell you. It is the most expensive per student by a mile. Low end, I've heard $15,000 per student per year. High end, I've heard $20,000 per student per year. So that's literally double or more the last 3 schools I just told you about: Maximo Potencial, Ikigai, and PCIS. But excellent school, beautiful campus, and the closest thing you'll probably find to the school your kids go to now. It is really, really well done. Now, in addition to all of those, Vista Cana is getting the Ashton School, a second campus from Santo Domingo that's moving in there. And there are other communities, I think like Pueblo Bávaro, which is a lower cost community that has a school inside of it as well. So those aren't the only 6, but they're the 6 that I've researched. And here's my conclusion. I believe all 6 of those are safer, of equal or better education, and are amazing environments for your kids to learn, grow, become bilingual, trilingual potentially, and not be politicized. Wonder if that resonates with you. Drop it down below. What did I leave open for you? I'll answer questions in the comments. Just let me know. If you want to see more on cost of living, just click this video here and I'll go through really what the true budget to live here is by reacting to another person's budget and showing you the real truth. Until then, appreciate it, subscribe, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.